bugging when I tell you this stuff. Thanks for my stomach. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let me get this over with. So somebody was sitting there. Look, when I say something, if I ask you to go and read my videos, or watch my videos, or read my videos, means watch it, pay attention, and ascertain something, and then come back and have a conversation with me. One thing I don't do here is I don't debate with somebody. If you don't know, you don't know. Say you don't know or you're not sure, and if you talk like you know, and I know that you don't, because see, me and my great uncles who fought in the fictional Civil War, knowing that Lincoln was a melanated man, my whole family, everybody knows. I sit here and I'm not about curious about when people don't know something, they talk as if they have authority, and they don't even have authority over themselves. So at all, I respect everybody. When I see people with the name Chief, and I didn't ask you, but if I see Chief, are you aware that's a French word? It has nothing to do with the amalgamation of truth. Has nothing to do with our origin or who we are. Tell them across the Yokode, Chief Darian Two Bears Ross, he passed on sometime a little while ago, right? Not long ago, right? But me and him used to converse, like I said earlier. Don't think having a side, because I screenshot everything, the conversation, then I share it with certain individuals, and they look and they go, he's not aware. If you're unaware, just say you're unaware. I don't care what you think or what you believe. I don't care your emotions, how you feel about something. Maybe it's something you need to work on in your dietary, or you need to get out more often and travel to work, which they're making it very difficult from people from here, but everywhere else can come here. So if you want to have a lucrative conversation, or you believe that you know what you're saying, or that I'm going to further give you the feeling of entitlement to have that conversation, my phone number is well known with most, and if you don't hit me in my Gmail, then the conversation is dead. If I see that you have absurd in your institution of understanding to listen, that you have a hard time ascertaining certain little things that are relevant, and that's on you. Okay, so I wanted to say, you see it right there, and I put a little quote from George Orwell and I didn't get some really good quotes up that are based on historical relevance and truth, that are steeped in books that I utilize to find these quotes that most time 99.99% of you may never see in your life, because you don't know where to look to find these quotes. And most times, if you do find a quote that's similar, you have to scroll all the way down, and even then tap on something maybe 2 or 3 times before you get to its origin. So 13 colonies is pure bull s. Okay, completely fabricated. Jamestown had nothing to do with some fake pilgrims. And you know what they say, they found Maryland. Well, how are Protestants going to get? So the internet all of a sudden just went out. Well, we have connection without the internet. We have staff here. So somebody's feeling some kind of way that I give 2 shits. Excuse my language, I was set up. Anyway, like I was stating and saying, okay, because it's showing is connected without internet, which makes absolutely 0 sense. Anywho, how are people, a group of individuals from Scotland and Ireland, going to get past in that time when they were warring with each other? Now, there's 1,000 books of the war that was going on with them. That's why I said the Spaniards and French, because if you look at the time when they acclimate to this, look at who was in charge, supposedly. Spain. So how's the French and Spain who's fighting and Scotland and England so-called precipitate to create the 13 colonies of the Dutch? They ain't got nothing to do with Britannia. As far as his foundation and finding, when we dismiss King James coming here because he was escaping the murder of our people around the world in the 1500s, came here for 5 or 6 years. But we're going to ascertain the small hats ideology and narratives, and then you believe that you have an argument when you haven't even taken the time, but all you do is mouth service? I don't do that. I don't care who you are or what you think you are. If you talk respectfully and responsibly, and I say something and you are lethargic and you believe that this is the same platform as all the other ones that you sit there and listen to all the people who don't know nothing, because I guarantee you all the information that you have is from know nothings. An education system steeped in Rockefellers and OSS, which I'm tired of talking about, to make sure people are dumbed down. And I don't like talking to dumb people. So I don't think nobody's dumb, neither you. But don't sit there believing that you're holding a light to the information I'm sharing. And don't go sitting there conversating all in the dark when you can come here and conversate in the light, Chief. So, again, how is that possible? When the great lands to which I read, when there were iron ships off the coast of California in the goddamn 1700s, iron ships, not wooden, the Monitor and all that nonsense. That was called life struggle, made up history by the very people who control your narrow behind now, if you're not one of them. So, again, and I'm not even going to say all the information that you may be privy to, and it's easy to look up. All right? Facts over fiction. 13 colonies, pilgrims, all that, fiction. History, fiction. We had great cities that dwarfed Rome, dwarfed Greece, dwarfed England, dwarfed Russia. So don't come back behind door and let me read. Here, I've got about 12 things across the top of information about that time period that several of those things contradict one another. So, hold on. Hey, Andy, much love, respect. What's that, Snoop? Where was that? Oh, on that post? Yeah. Tina Turner, she passed away. So what? Yes, Snoop, she passed away. I just sharing that with everybody. I just wanted to put that up there, okay? I'm not into much. I'm gonna hit that. I like to see people much love. Hey, great. Well, it's all y'all. Maybe news new under the sun, us light truth. Okay, I'm here to make y'all elevate yourselves. Nothing else. History and all. Yes, it is for sure. Definitely. It's not the way you might think it needs to be done, my beloved sister. That's why you need to pay attention and grab all the tea while you can. I'm using tea very loosely. But Chief, I need you to reassert and realize beyond all that back and forth that you just don't know, beloved, and with respect, okay? You don't know with respect. And I need you to just, and I've subscribed to your channel just to let you know that, okay? I subscribe to everybody, especially when you communicate, So we're going to get some more people over there to Chief Kawashito Fleming, Indigenous America's Indian. So, all right, so listen to me. I'm pretty much up there in so-called fictional their age. It's all fraudulent. Trust me. I live this life. I literally walk in this life, information and everything. I share things nobody else shares. Why? It's not no ego or anything, because I am more aware after paying attention for 20-something, AOL, 20-something years, and nobody knows or pays. Because when I was on AOL, when I was conversing with AOL dial-up, and then went to MySpace, everybody said this guy is a joke. And then I had some Moors come over, and I said, where y'all at? So I went down to Brooklyn. I went and met them, and I realized that they were fanatics, and they were full of it. And I said, nah, man, I'm done. I can go to the Black Panther Party, even though they kind of throwing that Islam around. I have more respect for them, even though with them having a little less knowledge of the truth, but having more, though there were feds there, I ain't gonna lie, I can smell them, being a little more close to ascertaining reality. And when I used to bring it up to people, and some of the people who knew that the 13 colonies was false, besides my Ashkenazi uncles, the people I met in Germany, Deutschland, people I met in Palestine. Hold on. Some of the people I met in South America, people I met in Greece, people I met in England. What's wrong with you Negroes here? You think that it's impossible for a whole squad, thousands of people to write fictional stories, to gather together, drinking a wine with baby blood and everything else, however they do it, I don't care. I don't want to get into all that. And compose with writers? Abe Lincoln is a Negro. It was melanated. But you got everybody believing that he was some pale skin. The original Buddha was as black as midnight, but they want you to believe in all this whitewash them goofies are doing. When I visited the Shaolin Temple and I actually got to see the real pictures, and the guy, one Chinese kid says, "Oh yeah, the French came here trying to whitewash the." He literally said it, and I was looking at all these dark ass skin Shaolin monks, and then I see these little pale ones all of a sudden cropped up like new design. It wasn't that there weren't no people there that was of lighter shade and this and that and other, but the original people of China didn't exist as it does today. It's a test bed to show that they can graft and groom even large numbers of people and make them blind and foolish. No government, they're all the same, is good. There's no need to bash government when government is no good. Okay? Especially when the government here has always been a lie since they murdered Lincoln. And that's she's so highly talked about because he's the only real one that existed. Everybody else is fabricated. You don't believe me? Take a walk on the wild side. Dig deep in yourself and learn the truth of yourself and stop being surface. Because see, so many of you right now are so surface. You're so materialistic. Religion is money. Nixon made sure that the money here was dead. If he could come back and talk to you, he'd tell you otherwise. He would tell you he made a grand mistake. And what they do once he did his job, they got him up out of there. For how much? That little tiny change that they got him up out of there with the Watergate, that little chump change. How come y'all not paying attention? You see they ain't getting this fool up out of there because he needs to do a certain job, and he's not even the same individual. How do you go from round ears like this to round ears like this to ones that short down here, ones that are sitting back here, and nobody's, and then ones who got skin that's flapping around like what? And yet you can look at his original picture and his neck was always tight. Why is that people have a hard time dealing with this? If I tell you the 13 colonies was pure BS to create status, but yet you can go back and the man who made Vertigo and all those movies, James Stewart, was a major or something in the military, racist. Oh, his wife, they have a video, you can pull it up and hear it on YouTube, when she talks about how abhorrent racist he was. But in 1942, because they wanted, 47, they wanted to bring the brother who played a cop with the big fro, with the pale skin goofy on Saturday and Sunday. They wanted to bring him in, 1970, which you call, right? They wanted to bring him in at that time as a young man in one of his movies. And James Stewart says, why? Why bring them in? Reconstruction period. Why bring them in when they control everything? See, you're not paying attention to how deep the betrayal is. Everybody that looks like you is not you, nor for you. Okay? So stop worrying about then and start dealing with now. Now I'm going to read a little bit of the Iron Republic and get off of here and come back a little later before I get myself situated, start turning everything off here later on tonight. And yeah, I had to make another tea because I couldn't curb my hunger after drinking that stuff. And so I'm drinking that till my mind sits right, and I got to go back outside and ground myself one more time. Okay? I respect everybody that comes over here from anybody's page, because we're all family. The problem is a lot of you are very hard of hearing because people have been satisfying your satiation for knowledge and stuff, and you have a hard time letting it go of the world they created. Listen to me. Let it all go. I don't care what part, based on principles, may be true. Let it go. Free yourself. And the moment you start freeing yourself, the moment you start seeing other things, the moment other things start becoming reliable and relevant. But as long as you hold on to their esquire, their fake laws and their BS, the more you'll stay, regardless of what terms you use to antiquate yourself with orthogonous, you'll be stuck over there, way out in the wrong outfield. And they'll start pitching every ball your way that you cannot catch. Iron Republic. I had always been proud of America's beautiful women. of whom I had known many, but never before had I looked upon a woman that so impressed, or I should rather say, overwhelmed me. She was richly attired in the evening dress of that country, which heightened the charm of her queenly face and figure. She wore a close-fitting bodice, and y'all can still donate. I'm still gonna buy a whole bunch of books. I actually done built up another thing with about 12 more books, people. I ain't gonna lie. So no, I can't stop. Yeah. Anyway, she wore a close-fitting bodice of light blue silk that displayed a perfection of the exquisitely rounded bust and well-formed waist, and extended just high enough to be caught with a pearl shell ornament like an opalette over the shoulders. Now above this was set a rich lace collar or yoke of a delicate peach blow tint, which served to emphasize the whiteness of the alabaster throat. Close-fitting sleeves of the same stuff revealed rather than hid. Now the beautifully molded arms ended with large ruffles at the wrists, mind you. Very, very, what you would say, Victorian, which Victorian is Tartarian, just to let you all know something you didn't know, trust me. Around the waist, and I shared that for the first time, nobody else is going to say it, but anyway, yeah, there you go. Around the waist was belted a skirt of seal brown velvet, extending halfway to the knees, and under this was worn a close-fitting knitted garment of dove-colored silk, and that terminated in silk-colored buskins fastened with light blue pearly buttons around the shapely ankle. The time and period of ankles. Reminded my grandpa. She looked like a beautiful prima donna before the footlights in full stage costume. Now, every perfection of form and feature was displayed to the greatest possible advantage, and as she advanced with natural and undis- un- unstudied grace. Okay. Well, I just wanted to get that one. I have to look at it. Baby, you got unstudied grace. Ooh, I like that word. Anyway, I could not but remark how much more beautiful God's most exquisite creation appeared in this garb than in the starched and stilted skirts, as I had been accustomed to seeing them all my life. Now, she also greeted me cordially, and though too polite to appear to notice it, with a sweeping glance, and she took in my costume, and I imagined that I could detect a smile lurking in the corners of her mouth. His costume means his garb, okay? To a person who had never before seen a man attired in baggy-legged trousers that dragged the floor, makes me think of my days in the Navy with them bell bottoms, and high glazed collars that cut the chin. I no doubt presented quite a ludicrous appearance. Makes me think of that anime, Battlestar. Was it? We're off in outer space to save our Mother Earth. Evil men with evil dreams, they can't destroy. Evil men with evil schemes, they can't destroy our dreams. We must redeem. Oh, and all star blazers. Y'all remember that? Da-da-da-da. Okay, anyway. And that's what it's like when you're wearing that stuff. As I contrasted myself with her father gracefully, dressed in the old English fashion of knee breeches and ruffles, I could not but perceive that it was to my disadvantage. After the exchange of a few pleasant civilities, in which I was as much charmed with the music of her voice as I had been with the beauty of her person, she announced that the evening meal was waiting, and taking her father's arm, led the way to the dining room, leaving me to escort Miss Morris, or rather to be escorted by her. The best way to be escorted by a woman is, I mean, kingmanship. I mean, there ain't nothing like it. To gather up your children, or take your woman and to move with her on the protecting side, she is what compliments you. She escorts you. Her beauty and her power carries you, the essence of truth. So y'all must learn these things. The dining room or kitchen, for it was all in one, was a cozy room with polished stone floor, and at one end was what appeared to be a low enameled sideboard, though I found when the meal was served that it was an electric furnace from which the different dishes were taken and set upon the marble top table. Everything was served from the dish in which it was cooked, and I learned for the first time that culinary operations could be carried on without soot or smoke. Reminds you of the old way things used to be, which he knew nothing about. Because most of the Pelicans in America at that period of time came from either orphans or were the orphans raised in the knowledge given to them from younglings, as the people who brought them here destroyed our lands. You know, World's Fair kind of stuff. And people think it started only happened in the 1800s. It was happening before that. What do you think the wars were about? Even us doing our best to hide and destroy things so they couldn't find things. But the mud flood hit a lot of things that we couldn't run around and dig up. Now, the cooking vessels were set upon paper mats, and under each plate was spread a snow white paper napkin, while another, neatly folded, lay beside it. At the risk of being tiresome, I am going thus minutely into these details, my object being to give as clearly as possible an insight into the way these people live. It is with the hope, too, that overworked American women whose lives are one long martyrdom, facts, to the washtub, the dishpan and the ironing table, may probably, because it's spelled like some Wampanoag language. Anyway, dishpan and the ironing table may profit by the simpler and cleanlier customs of a more advanced people. Knowing that American customs were, my host remarked to me that there was enough necessary labor in the Iron Republic to keep everybody employed, and so unnecessary labor was indulged in. That means everybody. And everybody's healthy. No heart attacks, no this, no that, none of that foolishness. Except for the Americans that came there that passed away from cancer later on. Even though they got to live a little longer, though. And some got to return and tell these stories. Oh, it's documented. Anyway, no tablecloths or napkins were laundered, and the paper ones used being fully as good and so cheap that the cost was a mere nothing. Even these, after being used, were packed in a hamper in exchange for new ones at half the original cost. Reminds you of when I was in cotton diapers, and Mom used to clean out most of them. Most of them, the same as the man. People come by, and these cleaners will come by, and that's how it was, and pick up all the baby's diapers, the cloth diapers, and take them and wash them and steam and everything and bring them back. That's how I got to be an Ivory baby commercial, sitting on this big metal thing on this radiator that was off in the studio with these bright lights, smiling my little red fro, you know, all decked up with my brown, what you call Buster Brown, white shoes and white socks and white t-shirt and white shorts. Just a little fat baby. This is, I think my Aunt Johanna still has a picture of it, of me, and that for that Ivory Snow commercial. Yeah. The professor and his wife sat opposite to each other at the table, which placed me vis-a-vis to the charming daughter. I had been accustomed to social functions of every description, and no vieux Bromel was ever more at home at a fashionable dinner party than I. But with this beautiful woman directly in front of me, her radiant face, only that's a beautiful word, radiant, your beauty is so radiant. No, it's not like I haven't used it before. Face only a few feet from mine, and our knees almost touching under the table. Oh, you little kinky thing. I was as awkward as a country bumpkin at a Lord Mayor's banquet. They were all kind enough, I think, to attribute to this the strangeness of my surroundings, and in most gracious ways strove to relieve me of my embarrassment and make me feel at home. During the meal hour, which was a most delightful one, we talked about American customs, and then the conversation turned upon American art and literature. In comparison with that of the Iron Republic, yeah, in relationship. In the discussion which followed, I was pitted against the ladies, and my host remarking that as he was a citizen of both countries, he should, we're talking about Morris, he should be equally proud of the achievements of each. I dilated on our poets, essayists, and novelists, and lauded the achievements of our architects and painters. But whether it was the superior numbers of the enemy or superior strategic ability, my native country was made to appear as far behind in these as in the more practical arts of life. Now, the best of the old English writers were not unknown to them, as Professor Morris carried a well-stocked library in the vessel that bore him to his adopted country. And Emerson, Miss Longfellow, Whittier, and many other American writers, they were also familiar with the professor to which had brought their earlier works to the country, and all had been republished and put through many editions, probably updates. Finally, turning to my host, I said banteringly, Professor, if your relations to both countries disqualifies you for participating in this discussion or taking sides, it ought to fit you all the better to act as referee between us. You are familiar with what is best in both countries, and to your judgments, I am willing to defer. Now, upon the lines we have been debating, which country, in your opinion, is entitled to take precedence? Well, this, said the professor after a moment's hesitation, is a difficult question to answer. To institute a comparison of this kind is like comparing one part of the firmament to the other. One part of the firmament to the other. Every nation has produced its great men, men who were brilliant in different ways. One part of the firmament has stars as bright as any other part, and the human mind has its limitations, and probably some men of every race have risen to the limit of human achievement, hue of a man, in some things. But while all parts of the firmament may contain bright stars as bright as the brightest, looking at the sidereal heavens, you will observe that one part, taken altogether, is more luminous than another. That is to say, has more bright stars. And so, passing judgment on both countries as a whole, I am compelled to say that the Iron Republic has surpassed America or any other nation. Now, America has produced one Longfellow, and the Iron Republic many. And essayists like Emerson towers above you like a monarch of the forest. Here, they are as the leaves in Vallambrosa's shade. You had one Beecher. Here, his name is Legion. And so in every field where the human mind has blazed a shining way, I will not say that in America the highway of genius is less exalted, but it is less traveled. And I'm here to get you people to snap about your comas. But why should that be so? I ask, unwilling to yield the point, when both nations came from the same parent stock and developed under particularly the same climatic conditions. Well, my dear sir, replied the professor with a smile, that question is easily answered. Admitting the intellectual equality of the two nations, there is every reason why this should excel in every field of human effort except that of bold and cunning acquisitions. Now, the construction of your government, and indeed of all the governments of the old world, is such as to encourage the prostitution of great talents to selfish personal aggrandizement. That's why I don't argue and debate with those of you who still stay raised. There's no argument or debate if you don't know what you're talking about. The genius which has made your thousands of great politicians and financiers would have made the same men great, or many of them, with a more unselfish and enduring greatness in this country. A more unselfish and enduring greatness in this country. You pay attention here? Henry Clay or Daniel Webster would never have devoted an hour of time or an iota of talent to the trade of politics, for neither, by taking thought, could have added a cubit to his political stature. Now, the genius that has built up million-dollar fortunes in your country here would have lain dormant or been more unselfishly applied. What I mean to say is that in this country, great talents can only find expression in the fields of art, literature, philosophy, and science, while in your country they may be applied to stock jobbing, financial exploitation, and the trade of politics. All these fields invite talent of the highest order and yield returns more gratifying to our selfish instinct. Do I understand that talent counts for nothing here in the race for wealth or political preferment? I asked with astonishment. See, he can't even let go of the good to which he's seeing, even after walking and traveling and hearing. Not just dissertations, but the visceral, visual or dormant of the love and stuff that he feels, but he's still holding on to the negate of negativity, like y'all do. How many of y'all went out and grounded this morning? I have grounded since for at least 20 to 30 minutes. How many of you hug a tree or lean up on the tree for 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes? How many of y'all sit down with your legs straight out or in a chair and close your eyes and find an empty space and meditate? How many of y'all take cold baths or cold showers to allow yourself to recompress, then decompress? How many of you literally stop eating garbage at these fast food, there is no such thing, restaurants? So it counts for little in the race for wealth and absolutely nothing in the race for political preferment. Answer my host. The consequence is that ambition to be gratified must be in a measure unselfish, and genius must expand or soar in a noble field or remain dormant. You cannot hope to grasp the results of a century of intelligent government building in a few minutes, but you will understand when you have had time for observation. He continued as we left the table. On our return to the sitting room, my host excused himself in saying that he had some business affairs to look after, which would detain him the better part of the evening. Almost immediately afterwards, Miss Morris also excused herself on the plea of having to look after the affairs of her kitchen. For it appeared that although in affluent circumstances, they kept no servants. This left me alone with the daughter, and for a few moments we sat in rather an embarrassing silence. The glorious beauty of this woman, her great lustrous brown eyes that seemed to irradiate everything they looked upon, the striking and brilliant costume that revealed so perfectly every charm of her graceful form. Oh, wow, every charm of her graceful form. I gotta pin that one. Made the whole scene to me like, you heard that, Snoop? Anyway, me like a scene in the Arabian Nights in which I was bewitched, bequeathed, and transported from the realm of sober reality into the magical presence of some wonderful princess. And she relieved the situation by rising and asking me if I would not like to hear the news of the day. Approaching, the contrivance are over the mantle from which had issued the music before supper. You will probably hear a good deal about yourself, she said smilingly, archly, as she proceeded to adjust the bell-shaped transmitter. Then by all means let us dispense with the news, I pleaded with unfeigned earnestness. How would you like to be entertained then? She asked, turning to me. You can have an opera, a lecture, or anything that is going on in the city. Perhaps you will like some music. The National Orchestra plays this evening in the Capitol, and you can have the full program or any part of it. Now, I dearly love music, I replied, and what I have heard in this country has been remarkably fine. But swelling from mysterious tubes or bursting from great mechanical contrivances impart this to it that serves to heighten the unreality of my present position and surroundings. Do you know? I said with a sincerity that made her burst out laughing, that I have pinched myself a great many times since I reached these shores in the endeavor to awake. Even now, it would be no surprise to me to start and wake and yawn and open my eyes to find myself back in America and my wonderful experience of the past year just but a dream. Now, I dare say you would be highly gratified to awake at this very moment, she said with just a shade of reproach in her voice. Oh, no, indeed, I cried with an impetuosity altogether out of keeping with the shortness of our acquaintance, at the same time rising hastily and approaching to where she stood by the mantel. I would not wake no for words. I think he's supposed to, no, y'all think I'm joking. It should say, I would not take no for worlds. It's supposed to be take. All right, people. I'm not, y'all see me making corrections and it's fine. The book is still good. You have to do this. Anyway, I will not take no for words. If it be, I said, repeating a fragment from one of her own poets that she had quoted at the table. If it be then that the seeming has more of beauty than the real, if only it be in dreaming, I may find the land O'Leal. May I not continue dreaming. Let me say that again, y'all, because I have to make, I think he was going to sleep here writing this. My apologies. And this is the dream. If I be then that the seeming has more of beauty than the real. If only it be in dreaming I may find the land, O Leo. May I not continue dreaming? Weren't not cruel to wake again? Is not bliss e'en in the seeming preferable to real pain? That's not a colloquial. Wow. Anyway, a blush overspread her face, making it even more beautiful than before, and I too flushed, feeling that I had gone too far for a rank stranger, as it were from another world. Very well, she responded. I would much dislike to wake you as long as your dream is pleasant. Nevertheless, she added with a meaning glance, I shall reserve the privilege of dashing cold water on you whenever I deem it proper to rouse you to a consciousness of your real position. And turning, she walked over to the music stand again to handle the sheets of music. Wow. Yes, I like to read Othello, and yeah, I like to read all that stuff. All right. All right. Okay. This Parthian shot sobered me, and I begged her to remember the peculiarity of my situation, being as absolutely cut off from every female acquaintance on earth as if I had landed on another planet, knowing only her mother and herself, and meeting them as the wife and daughter of a countryman. I begged pardon. If, like the lonely immigrant who meets a compatriot in a strange land, I presumed too much on a short acquaintance. Yeah, he was lusting. My words or manner evidently convinced her of my sincerity, for turning and advancing with a world of sympathy in her beautiful eyes, she extended her hand. What you doing? You heard me reading? You come like, boy, go sit your ass somewhere. With the most frank cordiality, and as I grasped her fingertips, in parentheses, almost daring to raise them to my lips, oh boy, you're moving too fast, she assured me that her love and admiration for her father made it quite impossible for any countryman of this to be a stranger, and begged me to consider her an old friend. The touch of her hand made my blood tingle, and the sweet candor of her manner made me feel quite at home again. Wow, that ain't shaking and jiving. What I was going to remark, I resumed, was that the mysterious and automatic manner in which this music, news, and other entertaining things you suggest comes to us heightens the unreality of my surrounds, and that I desire to make everything seem more real and less like an illusion, was something to remind me of home and life as I had been accustomed to it. This, I presume, is a musical instrument, I said, or said I, we could put it either way, advancing to the piano, and if you will be kind enough to play something yourself, I will enjoy it more than all the orchestras in the world, over a wire or through a tube. He's being flattering. He's trying to flatter her. He thinks he's being a slick Willie. It ain't like, I bet she knows. Without a moment's hesitation, she complied, and sitting down to the instrument, she played several pieces with great skill and expression. Noticing a number of songs among the music, I asked her if she would sing. She consented, but asked me to waive my objections to the automatic and mysterious tube, as she preferred a violin obbligato to playing her own accompaniment. Selecting a piece of music, she approached the general utility telephone and pressed a button, asked somebody or somewhere for the obbligato to the song, giving the title. In a moment, soft and low like the singing melody of an alien, I forgot how to pronounce this word, y'all, alien harp, came the prelude to the accompaniment, and then a voice full, round and sweet. She rendered the song, the obbligato swelling and sinking and blending with the rich tones of her cultivated voice, as though it were played by a master in the very room where we stood. Now Miss Morris entered the room while she was singing, and when the song was finished, at the request of her daughter, joined with her in a duet. That would be beautiful. Her contralto voice blending beautifully with the other soprano. At its conclusion, I was asked for an American song, and as fairly good baritone voice was the one single accomplishment I had been proud of at home, I complied and sang "Rock in the cradle of the deep, while Miss Morris played an accompaniment. That means musical something that accompanies y'all. I acquitted myself quite credibly and was gratified when they both admitted that no finer song had been composed in the Iron Republic. Now, when Miss Morris reappeared after dinner, she too was attired in evening dress made similar to her daughter's, though somewhat plainer, of some pearl gray stuff that was extremely becoming. Upon my risking a cautious compliment on her appearance, the conversation turned on the subject of dress, and I soon became aware that women want woman the world over, and be the surroundings what they may. I described to them the latest modes of dress in my country, and then there was the inevitable comparison between the different styles of the two countries. When I ventured a rough, when I ventured a rough guess at the number of articles of apparel and adornment one of our fashionable ladies would wear at one time, they threw up their hands in horror and wondered how they had time for anything else but to dress and undress. I expressed my decided preference for the Ironian side of illustrated by their charming costumes, but told them frankly that it would not be tolerated in my country. I guess they had long moved away from that type of attire. It is not Fraudulentian. It is Tartarian people, because they escaped in a period of time before the Civil War. They escaped when they were being chased so like in this one you'll read in the Navigator Across the Wall. When I read that, you will see those people of all colors, shades, but for you crayon colored individuals who can't separate yourself from by fact and fiction. Yeah. Okay. For those who listen to me read, you remember. Just as in some other books. One of the favorite books, you know which one I want to name, and her little cute face in South Africa, as it is stated, people of all different colors, no race and ethnicities. Those of us who are of importance, and those who were just as important, regardless of the stature or status. Okay, so we're gonna shut it down up right there because that was in that part. Excuse me, guys. That helps me fight my hunger and everything. Yet I have to take my minerals, so I gotta pour that because I can feel it in my cheeks. I intermittent fast every day, people. So, and I do exercise, mostly walk, but I still lift weights, and I do isometrics with towels, and I've got bands and cords from physical therapy and all that stuff that I still utilize. You know what I mean? So, excellent read. It's up to us, and you don't have to believe me. Now, I don't mind using Ham, Shem, and Yaphet. There is a truth to that, but also there's a truth in an enemy writing themselves into anything and everything, and you must acquaint yourself with that reality. I know it's hard for y'all, and I appreciate those who donate. But yeah, I went ahead and I ordered those books, but I put down I think 12 more new books, 12 or 13. So you can assist as usual. Not the same people, please, because I don't mind, but not the same people. It makes no sense. I want everybody to partake in this donation. I appreciate the people that actually did for the first time. I appreciate you guys so much. Let me see if I'm logged in. Hello, James. I'm supposed to be signed in, bro. Yeah. Okay. It's all. I just gotta hold on. Put it in. Signing in. And it says, all right, 7 out of 10. So I bought one, but I ordered the original 1984 by George Orwell. So I got the latter one. I think it came out in 2017, 12, or something like that. So I ordered that one. I found another book that's cheaper than the True Legends by Stephen Quell. Instead of the 40 something, $50, I put in the $20 one. So I didn't order that one because it was 40. I said it's got to be cheaper than that. Books are expensive when you get into real, like, get close to real history. but it's the stories. It's the things that they turn legends into myth. And then we believe legends are mythological, when actually legends are based on something serapidous or that's meaningful to us. Okay. And I'm getting the complete apocrypha. All right. We have to walk into that which we were reading in Arthur Koestler. Was it Arthur Koestler, or was it the what you call it? The gods. The breaking down of the books by that funny name that I hate to mention, or Enoch, okay, which becomes Megatron. And then we look at the book, the book, which I actually got the book right there, the Emerald Tablets with the book of Gilgamesh. So these are extra books that I wrote in here. They're all there, and and you can see the Emerald one stands out. Now the Constitution, because I have Federalist papers from my family passed down. The Constitution of the Confederacy of the United States of America is only $17.99. I'm gonna buy that myself. All right, probably purchase it. I might purchase it later, or I might just wait until after I'm done resetting myself. Okay. And the one that y'all all saw me add after I had already had the books that I was going to purchase, I just re-added to the top, which is the American Discovery of Europe. All right, because somebody's been asking me, and I was like, I've got certain books that talk about it, but I have to find a book that's directly related to it, and there's a few. So I got this one. It's $30, and the one that I looked at, other than this one, on Thrift was $175, and I was like, and so on Thrift it says you find it cheaper on the bottom part. So I put that in, and it came up on friggin' Amazon. Okay, you see that? So it's added to the cart. It's in there, and a few others I'm not going to mention because I like to be able to pull a book out and go, look at what we're going to check it out. I'm going to read a little bit from this, but we're not going to read the whole thing now because I have to go through certain books, PDFs and stuff like that, and then ascertain what will actually go with the next book. What will go with the next book? You dig what I'm saying? So anyway, like I say, always appreciate the donations. I'm not going to stop buying books until fake hell freezes over or this world finally, okay? So I appreciate everybody. Herbo, Snoo, Rondo, what's going on, beloveds? Mikey Hill, T. Hines, APJR, what's happening? What's happening? How y'all doing? Hey, what's happening, family? What's going on, beloved? What's going on? Hey, Margarita, I saw you. I said if he was in here, you better be up in here. Great Wolf, what's going on? Peace, love, and blessings, everybody, for sure. Humble French, what's going on? How you doing, sis? But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming over. I know it's Wednesday or whatever, and I know sometimes it's hard to stay in there. But neither of you tell me, I need you guys to stay in and hold it down. Because if you want to get away from this Cashapp, you guys need to follow through and then pay attention to any short I put up. And if you see an ad, watch the ad. Stop. Just let it play out if it's there. Or tap on it to see what it's about. Because anything I talk about is going to be an allude to that. All right? Supposedly. That's what they say. So I appreciate you guys coming in. We're at the 54-minute mark. Share this. If you're a new subscriber, you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit that bell, notifications, and give me a thumbs up. Appreciate it. I'm not really watching nobody else's lives no more other than Cure Meal and Drop. I watch Drops. I like when he talks about things, especially if I have information on it. And I look at him circumvent and find new material. But the thing is, sometimes we find stuff we should hold off talking about things that just because it's in a book, people take it and run with it. And it's very, very dangerous in this time right now. Okay? And there's a couple other people I watch. But I'm like this. You support me and I'll support you. You don't support me, what do I need you for? I'm here to meet a means. To make a means. It's with purpose. And that's all I can say to that. All right? And my brothers, you already know. I'll see y'all a little later.